Welcome back. We are ready to go right into Pokemon Scarlet, Starfall Street, being run by Trivvaria. That Venonat name bid war is just about to close. If you have a last minute snipe, get your donations in. Otherwise, let's go with Pokemon Scarlet.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm Trivvaria. I'm very excited to be bringing you the speed run of Pokemon Scarlet Starfall Street. I'm not here alone, though. I'm joined by Spider C.
Hello. I'm one of the people who picked up this category early on when the game came out, and it's a lot of fun. Looking forward to seeing it.
It definitely is. And I'm just going to start the countdown here. To start the run, time is going to start on my first input here. So I'm just going to count down from 3. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck. So you might notice right away that this is starting off very differently from any other Pokemon game. So what this is it is a single story run for Scarlet and Violet, which means that we are just completing one of the 3 main storylines. And as part of that, what the community has decided to do is allow us to start after the 45-minute intro, so we're able to just jump right into the game. And so right away, Triv grabbed a rare candy. We're going to be picking up a lot of rare candies and other EXP candies. And then she went and bought Wise Glasses. Wise Glasses is a held item that increases all of our special attacks by 10%, which is good because we're only going to be using special attacks.
Yes, and I just jumped the fence there. You can go through the gate, but that would trigger a cutscene. So just jumping the fence will also put you in front of the gate, which takes a little bit of time. Just picked up a Pokédoll, which is an item that I really only picked up for safety. You can use it to guarantee that you get away from a wild Pokemon encounter. I also picked up an Awakening, which is a status heal item that will very likely come in useful much later in the run.
Yep, and the Pokédoll especially is very helpful because for the first 20 minutes or so, we're mostly going to be just running around the map, and that includes going to high-level areas. So if we do accidentally hit an encounter, the Pokédoll is essential to actually being able to get away from that. And right here, the next rare candy we're going to get is a nice little speed tech here. We're going to slide off this, or go down this cliff, slide off the wall, and then warp back up. So it's just a way to get the candy without having to run around to get back to where we want to be. We're going to do that one more time later in the run as well.
Yeah, the game sort of expects that you have fallen off by accident if you are not actually riding Koraidon here. So that's why we get the ability to port back up for free.
And we just chapped a watchtower. The watchtowers are also fly points onto our cities. So right now we're going to grab one more rare candy, and then we're going to just walk into a city and then immediately leave, because we're going to get the fly point for the city later, and then actually go back there later on.
Yes, exactly. You also just saw me dismount Koraidon, fall down, and then just before I hit the ground, I mounted Koraidon again. This gets around a pretty lengthy landing animation that Koraidon gets if the fall is too high. So we're going to be doing that quite a lot.
How long Koraidon is in the air and not how far he falls, which is an incredibly minor distinction.
Yeah.
But from my testing, I think that's actually what it is, which is interesting. But right here, we have Cloth. And if you watched Scarlet and Violet before, or if you've played the game, you'll notice that we're running very slowly. You're going to have to get used to that, because this is the only category of the game where we do not beat Cloth. Cloth, when you beat Cloth, you get the dash ability for your ride Pokemon, but it takes about 5 minutes. And just with the amount of running around that we do, it's actually faster to not fight Cloth and then just run through the map slow, instead of actually getting that dash ability unlocked.
Can I read a quick donation?
Absolutely.
We got $50 from Wells. It just says, good luck, have fun. Thank you so much for that donation. And remember, you can type ! donate in chat to donate towards the Trevor Project.
All right, we are just about to catch our main Pokemon for this speedrun. I'm just gonna pick up this next item, which is a netball. Netballs have an increased catch chance for bug type Pokemon, also for water types, but that is less useful to us. And now I'm just looking for a Venonat, which can spawn in the area like that, okay? Okay, apparently I don't get the lock on, so I'm just gonna have to check what we get. We need this Venonat to be level 20 or lower. Okay, that's good. Because of the way that obedience works in the game. Because we don't have any gym badges, only Pokemon that we catch at level 20 or lower will obey us. It doesn't matter what level we take it to, so we're going to level this Venonat up to level 65 later. It will still obey us because we caught it at a lower level than 21. But there is a second thing I need to check here, and that is its ability. That was not the right thing to do. Hello? There we go. It is the correct ability. So we can actually... Oh, never mind. I should probably end the incentive here. I'll need the nickname for the Venonat.
Yes, the Venonat's name is going to be Dijon. Dijon.
All right. Dijon the Venonat.
Thank you so much for all your donations, chat.
And the reason why we checked the ability there is Tinted Lens is a very useful ability. What it does is it makes it so any of your not very effective moves actually go for neutral damage instead. So we can use moves that you normally wouldn't want to be using against certain Pokemon and just have it work. That's useful in a fair number of spots. One in particular, it makes the second to last fight a lot easier because we can just that river jump is really annoying when you don't have dash.
Yeah.
It makes it so we don't have to do as much setup on one fight. But the other spot where it's also useful is that for a lot of fights we would be wanting to use the move Psychic in order to beat the Pokemon. But the issue is that Psychic has a very long animation. And this is one of the few Pokemon games where we are unable to turn off animations. And so because of the fact that we can use not very effective moves for neutral damage, we don't have to use Psychic nearly as much. And so it's fairly minor time save, but it does add up. And right now, it is time for Ratio Rock, as the community lovingly calls it, because Pokemon can just spawn here and get in your way, and that is an amazing Ratio Rock, because nothing spawned.
Yes, the game is being nice to me, and I am very suspicious about it. It could stop being nice to me at any second. I also picked up another extra Pokédoll just for safety. There are a couple along the path here that we can pick up because we're venturing into areas where the Pokemon are like level 40 or something, and we still just have that level 19 Venonat, so we really want to make sure that we can get away from any encounters that we might run into.
All right, I'm sorry, but can I interrupt? Can we rename the Venonat? That $50 donation was supposed to go towards the name. It was a last-minute snipe.
Ah, okay, yeah, sure, we can rename it. So what's the...
It's going to be Bird. Capital B-I-R-D exclamation mark. I'm sorry, Dijon fans. You got to see Dijon for a second, but now it's Bird.
Could you spell it again? Just Bird exclamation?
Yep, B-I-R-D exclamation mark. Thank you.
All right. So now it's Bird the Venonat.
Much like Magnezone, Venomoth is also a bird.
I see. So yeah, this game lets you just rename the Pokemon from the summary at any given point. Unlike in older Pokemon games where you would have to visit a specific NPC. I'm not doing well with the ledges today, but that's fine.
So this is the other spot where we are falling down and then warping back up to tap that Pokemon Center, which once again we're going to fly to later. The important part there is you need to make sure that you don't land on the Pokemon Center's roof, because if you do, then it does not count the warp point, and then you're in trouble.
Oh, I don't want to fight the Gogot.
Have you seen any shiny Go-Goats yet? Because everyone else seems to.
Really? No, I haven't seen a shiny Gogot. I saw a shiny Murkrow
Ooh, that's a nice one.
on my last practice session for this run.
Yeah, the first shiny that I saw in this game was a shiny Go-Goat during a speed run, and I just had to run right past it.
Yeah, that is oftentimes the fate of the speedrunner when it comes to shinies. There's never really a good time to catch one, unless it's the main Pokemon, and even then that's probably slow because of the extra animation that plays when you send out a shiny Pokemon in battle.
Yep, especially in the single story runs, because you would ruin your save file, which can sometimes take a bit to set up. Right there, the Pokemon can sometimes just be standing on top of items that we want to pick up. And so Triv sent out the Pokemon that she had to pick up the item for her. We'll be using that mechanic a lot when we get to this Team Star bases for a slightly different purpose. But it's a nice thing when the game decides to be mean, is that you have a backup where you can just have your Pokemon pick up the item for you.
Yeah. So right now here, we're just going to attack this Pokemon Center and turn right back around. We'll be able to fly back to that center later. But for now, we just want to head into the other direction because there's a bunch of items we want to grab. Like right down here, this item is the Modest Mint Spider. Could you explain what mints do?
Yeah, so mints are... well, so first Pokemon have natures, and natures affect how a Pokemon stats work out. Where I think it's a 10% bonus to their one stat and a 10% penalty to a different stat. This Venonat had a neutral nature to come when we caught it, so it didn't have any bonuses or penalties. What the nature will do is the mint will do is it will forcibly change it to a specific nature. And in this case, we picked up the Modest Mint, which is plus special attack, minus attack, where once again, as I said, we are only using special attacks for the run. So that is a very nice item to have, and it's especially nice given that it's right on the path, exactly in the direction we wanted to go anyway.
Yeah, the mint locations end up being really convenient. Oh no, no. Okay. Don't want to slide off here.
Yeah, that's a rough spot to fall off.
That's also a rough spot for these spawns. I think I'm just gonna try to get away and have this. No,
Oh.
not the Halucha. Wow, that's what we have.
Halucha wants to be your new main.
Oh, please don't. That's what we have the Pokédolls for. Also, there's a Go-Goat right on top of me. Please let me get away. I just wanted to have that horde of Go-Goats despawn, maybe.
Well, they moved around chasing you, so.
That's interesting. I think I'm just gonna dismount and walk right through. That was a really unfortunate spawn pattern there, but that can happen in this game. We have to deal with it.
Oh, so one other piece of movement tech that I don't think we talked about is, well, we kind of did, but in addition to before where Triv was dismounting before going off a ledge and then remounting before hitting the ground, it's not always worth it to do that because that does take some time. And so what we try to do whenever we can is instead of going that route, we're going to try to land on a slope. And then if you land correctly, then you get a slide. And so then if you get the slide, you also skip the animation when you land.
Ooh. Just bounced off of that.
Luckily, the game will not give you an encounter if you land on top of a Pokemon.
Yeah, I had a situation in a practice run the other day where I was about to land on a Pokemon, but remounted too late while in the air. So the mounting animation, the sort of rotom phone parachute animation and the battle start all happen at the same time. But by then it was too late and it forced the battle, so just a really odd situation to be in. I'm just gonna pick up one more item here and then we're gonna drop down to that area down there and approach the first base of this run. The goal, of course, for this run is to beat all of the 5 bases of Team Star. Team Star is sort of the evil team of this game. They're not really evil, though. At least not if you compare them to something like Team Rocket.
Yeah,
they're
pretty chill.
Yeah, they're pretty chill. They're just
considered.
basically like a student group that are a little bit mean, maybe, or at least people think they are. And we just want to figure out what's going on with them. And for that, we have to take on the bases.
So we tapped one more Pokemon Center there just because there's a base right next to it. So we're going to come back here later. But really, we want to finish up all of our movement or picking up candies and whatnot first. Just get them out of the way so that we can level up our Pokemon to where we need. And then we're basically going to rush to the bases. Hit them one after the other with minimal movement in between.
Let me know when a good time for a donation would be.
Oh, this would probably be it.
Perfect. We have $100 by Lord Azul. They say, loving the marathon. Thank you so much. Thank you for that donation. It's really appreciated. And they put that towards the Quest for Glory Get the Hero Surprise Dinner, which we're just under halfway to getting. So if you want to get the Hero Surprise Dinner later in that Quest for Glory 5, make sure you get your donations in and put your donations towards the incentives when you do.
All right, we're just about done here with this cutscene. I think they do tend to last longer than I hope, basically every time, but that's fine. And like Spider said, we're not going to actually attack the space quite yet. We're just going to jump up this slope, pick up one more item, and then we're off to do more collecting.
I don't think we talked about BLJs, actually.
No, I don't think we did.
So basically, if you are on a slope and you are facing backwards, the game will not have you slide down the slope. And so what that allows us to do is backwards long jump up slopes. We had some fun with the name when the game came out, and then it just kind of stuck. So Pokemon now also has BLJs.
As it should.
Yeah, that really opens up the game and the map to us very early, because these slopes are used as sort of a natural barrier to keep you out of areas that you would only be able to access with the high jump ability that the game gives you at a later point. But since we can jump up the slopes, we don't really have to worry about that. We can basically go anywhere we want with very few exceptions. Ooh, all right.
So now we are heading towards the water gym, which is the water town, because it's close to the dark base. Currently, we have the fly points that we're going to be looking for 4 out of the 5 bases. Or 3 out of the 5. This is the 4th, and then we're just gonna head directly to the fairy base after this one. So our around the world movement is coming to an end.
Yes, but we saved the worst section for last. Just gonna slide down here. There's one more rare candy to collect, and then one more BLJ that I've inexplicably been struggling with recently.
Yeah, this one's weird. It definitely shouldn't be as hard as it is.
Never used to have a problem with this, but now every time... Okay, good.
Fairly
Worked
soon after
out.
the game came out, I saw a clip of someone trying to BLJ up there, and a Fletchender spawned in the wall and encountered them.
Oh no. That is really unfortunate. We're just flying now back to the mountain. We tagged this fly point earlier, and this is the bad section. I hate this part. It's already bad if you do have the dash ability, but we don't even have that, so it's just very awkward to move on this mountain. Plus, Pokemon can just spawn right in front of you, and it's very hard to see them sometimes. Because there is one specific Pokemon that is meant to be basically invisible until you approach it, because it's burrowed in the ground.
That's one nice thing about not having dash for this category is it's a little bit easier to react to Pokemon, even though some of the jumps are more difficult without dash.
Okay, got it.
That jump is rough if you miss it, because you just end up in this little valley, and the movement is not great in there.
No. This area is very, very rich with items, though, very useful items. EXP candies L. EXP candies, like rare candies, we would use to raise the level of our Pokemon. EXP candies give you a flat amount of experience points, and we have been collecting both candies of the size M and L. L candies give you 10,000 experience points, and I just picked up 3 of them in one item ball. So that's 30,000 experience.
That EXP, that triple L, took us a weirdly long time to find. Like, it was a month after release or something like that before we finally realized it was there. And it helps a lot.
Yeah.
30,000
so
XP is nothing to sniff at.
No. And with the other 2 Alcandies, that's 50,000 just on that lag of movement alone. I'm now going to go into this store and buy 5 X special attacks. X items can be used in battle to temporarily raise 1 stat of your Pokemon. In this instance, special attack, and like Spider said earlier, that's the only attacking stat that we're going to be using. So very, very good to have. And yeah, we can just afford 5, but that should be all that we will need. And then I'm going to jump down here.
And so what we're picking up right here, which is one of our final items, is the Sludge Bomb TM, which is an extremely good move, especially for Venomoth, because it is a poison move. Poison is pretty good coverage for us, especially because of our Tinted Lens ability. And then it's also 90 base power, which is very strong. In fact, we will only be using 90 base power moves, just because Venomoth's Learn Set is surprisingly very good in this game.
Yeah. The type coverage, especially with Tinted Lens added as an ability, is really, really surprising for Venomoth and Venonat. Why is there a Flamigo here? I didn't know they could spawn here.
Yeah, normally a Psyduck spawns there. I've seen a Flamigo there before, but it's very uncommon. So that was our last EXP candy, and so now we get to do the big menu, where we just level up all of our Pokemon, evolve them, teach them new moves, and then are going to go for the fairy base.
Yeah, I usually do it at the bottom of the mountain. You can see the lighthouse down there. That's where the fairy base is. And we're just gonna go in that direction. And as soon as I get close, I'm just gonna... Oh, that was bad. It's fine though. I'm just gonna do that menu. All right.
Oh no, it's raining.
That is unfortunate, yes. Do you want to explain the weather while I'm doing this menu?
Yeah, so every 5 minutes or so in the overworld, the weather will change. and Rain is the laggiest, and this is the laggiest base. Well, second laggiest. And so getting Rain here is unfortunate. The one good news is that because, like I said, the weather changes every 5 minutes, it should go away either during this menu or shortly thereafter. So it shouldn't make too big of a difference. So now we're going to be using all of these items that we've picked up. We're actually just going to clear out this entire inventory of candies. And so one piece that's interesting here is that you'll notice that we're actually leveling up the other Pokemon in our party as well. And that is because the Starfall Street story, in addition to just regular battles, it also has what are called Star Barrages, where you take in 3 Pokemon and you go and battle Team Star's Pokemon using the Let's Go mechanic, which is oddly named because there's also a Let's Go name, or Let's Go game. And so in order to do that fast, we want to have multiple Pokemon of decent level. So in addition to raising our Venomoth to 65, we're also going to evolve our starter, Fuecoco, and the Lechonk that we caught in the game's tutorial.
It's just the most convenient things to use in the bases. No, that's the wrong move. I want to teach Sludge Bomb here.
So we're going to go ahead and teach the Sludge Bomb TM that we picked up, and then we're going to relearn 3 other moves. Another excellent change in this game is you can learn moves anywhere. So we're going to go ahead and teach Psychic, Bug Buzz, and then Quiver Dance. Quiver Dance is another excellent move for Venomoth, where it raises your special attack, special defense, and speed by 1 combat stage each, which is incredibly useful because it just lets us do more damage, be more defensive, and be faster, all of which are good things to have in a speedrun. Nice
Bonjour.
Yeah, bonjour.
All right, so now we're finally approaching the base here. Each of the bases are structured very similarly, where there will be an opening cutscene followed by what I call a gatekeeper fight. There's always one just regular Pokemon battle to start off the base. In this instance, we're going to fight, I keep forgetting his name, Harrington. Yes, okay. Yep. Who is, what's his relation to?
He is the former principal of the school, and he is now mentoring Ortega.
I see.
The reason why we do this base first, in addition to just it kind of works out well for movement purposes, is that Harrington's Pokemon both give 2 special attack AVs, or EVs. Wow, too much Let's Go. And so those 4 special attack EVs that we get are going to raise our special attack stat. And so it just helps us. It makes the run a bit safer to just get those early on, so we don't have to worry about missing damage ranges quite as much.
It's really nice to have. For some reason, the boss battles don't give experience in this run. Like the Team Star bosses don't award experience, and since EV gains are tied to experience, you're also not getting EVs from the boss battles here. So the EVs from the gatekeepers are that much more important. Anyway, now that we're through with that, we're just about to actually enter the base and start our first Star Barrage. The Star Barrage is just a new feature added to the franchise in this game. We were using that Let's Go feature, the auto battle feature that Spider explained earlier, to send our Pokemon out one after the other and fight just the Pokemon that Team Star sends out against us in the field. So there are not going to be any just standard Pokemon battles. Instead, we're gonna let our Pokemon fight for us and keep moving in the meantime. We're supposed to defeat 30 Pokemon in a time limit of 10 minutes. We should usually get it done in less than 2. Let's see what I can do here.
Yeah, and so the fairy base is the second highest level base, and although we did level up our, ooh, that's really good. We did level up our 2 support Pokemon. They are fairly low leveled. The one thing that happened there that was really nice is that these Pokemon that we're going up against are fairly high level and can beat our Pokemon most of the time. The one exception is the Tinkaton family in this base is particularly weak, and so if you are able to send out your Crocalor against them, it'll just get through the entire pack without any issues. And so having that be the third pack that showed up, that Crocalor then got sent out against was very nice. And so you can see that our Oinkologne has fainted, and our Crocalor is somehow still alive. This is actually a really good fairy base. And it rained again. Oh, jeez. It's a really good fairy base in terms of keeping your Pokemon alive. Normally you heal at least once, or when you're around 20 Pokemon, the little vending machines that are scattered around will heal your entire party back up to full. But because of good spawns, Triv didn't actually end up needing the heals, which makes this a very fast base. 852, that's a really fast fairy base.
Yeah, I was happy about it, but I was so unsure whether Crocodile would keep holding on that I was just at some
Crocodile
point...
did not want to die.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good thing, but I was trying to go toward one of the vending machines. They're all kind of at the edge of the base in this one. So, I don't know, I just probably moved a little farther away from where things may have actually spawned. I think that could have been even faster of a fairy base. Anyway, we're fighting Ortega, the first of the 5 Team Star bosses.
Ortega is an interesting fight because a bunch of different Pokemon have been routed for this category. Currently the 4 with the best times are Quaquaval, which actually has the best time, and then Venomoth, is Honchkrow, yeah, and then Honchkrow, I think, and then Flamigo. Yeah. The interesting thing here is that, with the exception of Venomoth, 3 out of 4 of those Pokemon are weak to Fairy, which means that they have a very hard time with Ortega. Venomoth just kind of sludge bombs and it's fine. That's kind of a common theme, actually, is that Venomoth, you have to do a little bit more to get Venomoth up and running, but in return it has very safe fights.
Alright, coming out last for each and every one of the bosses is their Starmobile, which are interesting. They're based on the Pokemon Revivroom, but they behave very strangely. Do you care to explain that, Spider?
Yeah, so one thing that's really weird about these well, I put Pokemon in quotation marks, is that unlike every other Pokemon ever, they're not a Pokemon with some internal values for their IVs and EVs and whatnot. These Pokemon are just hard-coded stat lines. And they also do some other weird things too. Like, when they come out, they reset your counter on Echoed Voice, which is a move that normally gets stronger each time you use it. I was, at one point when I was trying to route this category for Wigglytuff, I was using Echoed Voice here. I swept through the rest of Ortega's team, and then I just did 0 damage to his Starmobile because for some reason it reset my Echoed Voice count. So the Starmobiles are just weird. And one other thing that's notable about them is that even the lower level ones have a very high speed score for some reason. And so Mella's base is the second to lowest level, but her Starmobile is still very fast. And so depending on the Venomoth you get, you might actually get outsped by it. So yeah, they're just weird. That's all it is.
Yeah, I think their stats also can't be lowered or something.
You can't crit them.
You can't crit them, okay.
I can't remember if you can lower their stats or not.
It's just,
Which is also why Meowscarada is not very good at this category, because its signature move always crits and it relies on that for most of its damage, but you just don't do any damage to Starmobiles.
yeah, Meowscarada would also just in general struggle with the fairy base, I think.
It struggles with every base. It's weak
Okay.
to everything except for Dark.
Well, it has found its home in Path of Legends, so
Yep.
At least that's something. We do actually use every one of the 3 starters in some capacity in one run or another of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So we use Fuecoco in this run as one of our team members. We also use it in Victory Road. Sprigatito is the main for Path of Legends, and then Quaxley, the water starter, is used in the world record route for this category.
It's a very interesting thing compared to most Pokemon speedruns where one starter is the clear choice and then maybe another one's okay and then the third one's really bad. In this one, they all have their uses, which is very cool to see.
All right, well, we are currently in cutscene hell, but that is fine. After every base, there's like a 3-minute cutscene where you get a little bit of insight about the team, what happened with them, why they are the way they are. And then you're also going to talk to your 2 collaborators, Clive, whom we've already met, and Penny, who we're talking to right now. They just give you updates on how things are going. Where am I going next? Poison Base, right?
Poison Base, yep. Especially because it just stopped raining.
Perfect, yeah. The Poison Base is the laggiest base in the run. So if you see it raining, you may want to consider delaying that particular base to later, just to avoid the extra lag.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because the fairy base by default is very laggy because of the river. And the poison base generally... Wait, what?
Did not see that at all.
Yeah.
Camouflage in the grass, but I'm now high level, so I shouldn't be able. I shouldn't need to even use a Pokédoll. Yeah, that's fine. It was just right behind the bush. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah. So by itself, the poison base. It's raining again. What in the world?
Yeah, I guess we're just gonna see it lag a lot at the moment here.
The game wants to make sure we get more marathon.
Yeah.
It just keeps raining. That's the 3rd time now.
Yeah, that's the 3rd time it's rained, which is ridiculous. Normally, like, it's not uncommon, because I said the weather changes every 5 minutes. It's not uncommon for the weather to change, in quotations, from clear to clear.
Yeah.
But in this case, it actually is just flipping back and forth between rain and clear.
And that's just so unfortunate, because you can really feel the difference in this area. Makes it much worse. I assume we're gonna go through the base in slow motion.
Pretty much. One thing that, well, because of the lag, it's going to be harder to do it. But one thing that we didn't talk about for the Star Barrages is there's some really cool speed tech that you can do called stop and goes, where normally when you send out your Pokemon to do something with the Let's Go mechanic, your character will stop in place, do a little animation where they point, and then you can start moving again. But if you combine the animation of your character stopping moving with a Let's Go, you'll do what's called a stop and go, where the animation of your character stopping moving overrides the animation of them sending out the Pokemon. And so you don't have that time to wait where you need to wait after the Let's Go is completed. You can just basically stutter step and then keep running.
Yeah, it makes movement inside of the bases much smoother. But it's definitely a trick that you need to practice a little bit before you get it done. And especially with the lag, it's much harder to hit that window. So I'm probably not gonna get it consistently if the rain keeps going here.
By the way, there are some great Pokemon puns being shared in chat, and if y'all want to donate with the Pokemon puns in your donation message, I will read them and force Trivvaria to deal with them.
There are some excellent puns. I would like to see more of those. One other really minor thing that's notable in these in the fights in this run is that there is not the ability to have set battle style in this game. So if you have more than one Pokemon in your party, every time the trainer that you're fighting is going to send in a new Pokemon, it asks you if you want to switch. Which doesn't sound that bad, but early on we really didn't think much of it, and then so people were just going through and just keeping extra Pokemon in their party for the heck of it to get them extra levels, safety, whatnot. When we stopped doing that in the Elite Four, it saved about a minute. So there's a lot of time just saying no to a single text box in this game.
Yeah, it's really annoying. That's another thing that they, for some reason, just changed from previous games where you could always turn it off. I'm just going to safety save here because the lag is so bad right now that I'm honestly afraid the game's going to crash.
Which can happen.
Yeah.
I have gotten an infinite load screen in this category before, which is very unfortunate when it happens. So saving for marathons is definitely good to do.
Yeah. Usually, because you prepare the save files, you never want to save during a run. If something bad happens, you just have to reset. But if you save, then the save file is lost, and you have to play all the way through the intro again to get another save file. Oof, this
isn't great. One thing that's interesting about this base is we're going to be fighting the Pokemon, or making our way through the base in a fairly specific order, because we want to end the Star Barrage standing in a specific spot. Because if you stand in one spot, you get a normal loading screen. If you stand anywhere else in the base, you get a 14-second loading screen. And so we're just going to be going through the base. Different people have different ways that they take through the base. But everyone tries to end in the same spot, which is the center of the circle area in front of Giacomo's tent. Or not Giacomo, this is...
Atticus.
Atticus, thank you.
And the lag is so bad right now, it feels like walking through jelly. Very, very annoying to deal with.
Your Croc is staying good HP though, so that's good.
Yeah. Should be able to send it out against these.
Yeah.
Comes back to me. Or we don't need it. Okay. I think this should be fine though for the loading screen. Let's see.
Yeah, and honestly, the IGT went down because of the lag, but just based on clock time, that was a pretty solid poison base.
Yeah, it felt pretty good outside of the lag. I found that taking a left early in the base and then just kind of wrapping around back to the center, even though you get that little stretch where really nothing spawns, no enemy Pokemon spawns, it's still very reliable to get you to 30 in a short amount of time, and you will finish right in front of the tent, so the loading screen should be manageable. Let's see. Okay, this was fine.
Yep. Yeah, that's the loading screen that will take either 14 or 18 seconds if you are standing in the wrong spot.
All right, Atticus, the second Team Star boss that we're fighting. For this one, we do actually have to set up one turn. So I'm going to use one X special attack here to raise Venomoth's special attack for this fight. This
And
gun
one
tank,
thing-
yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say this skunk tank will always go for Sucker Punch because its other moves don't do any damage to us, which is really nice because Sucker Punch is a move that only works if you're using an offensive move against it. So it'll work this turn, but it did not work on the first turn. We're gonna have the exact same thing happen in Ares base, where the Pokemon that we're setting up against is going to use Sucker Punch on us for the first 2 turns, where we are just doing nothing other than setting up. And so this is the other spot where Tinted Lens comes into play. Because of the fact that we have Tinted Lens, we are able to use Bug Buzz in this case against the Rev Room. If we did not have Tinted Lens, we would have to use Psychic, which, as I said, has a longer animation.
We also just saw a regular Rev Room, so Atticus has both regular Rev Room and a separate poison type Starmobile. I mean, there would have been other poison types in the game. I don't know why he'd have to have 2 of them.
He just really likes them.
Yeah, apparently. Alright, but since we are buffed to +2, 1/bomb should take this out. Now, Tinted Lens does not get around immunities, so I did have to use Bug Buzz on the regular Rev Room, since that is part Steel type, which makes it immune to poison type moves, but this special Rev Room is pure poison type, so I could hit it with Sludge Bomb for normal damage.
A little bit later, we're going to be fighting a Ponyard, which is a Steel Dark Pokemon, which means the only move that we can actually use against it is Bug Buzz, because it is immune to our other 2 moves.
Yeah, just an update on the lag situation. I'm pretty sure I lost about 40 seconds to lag on this.
Oh, jeez.
So,
Is that counting the Axew?
oh, yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, because I lost 1:10 overall, so I already deducted the encounter and my
Okay, yeah.
hesitation earlier. I didn't quite remember where to go next.
Yeah, the lag can be a problem in this game. It is, other than the rain lag, it is fairly manageable, but the rain lag is pretty much random.
Yeah, there's not much you can do about it. I could have just reordered the bases on the fly when I saw it was raining, but since I had already flown here when it wasn't raining, it would just probably have been as slow to fly to another base at that point in time.
So now the poison base is done, which means we're heading to fighting next, I believe.
Yes.
The fighting base is the highest level of the 5 bases, which isn't a problem for our Venomoth, but it is somewhat of a problem for our other 2 Pokemon. So they really aren't going to be accomplishing too much in the Star Barrages. The one exception is that if the Pokemon that show up in the Star Barrages are the Mankeys, because the Pokemon that we go up against are random. Just like the Tinkatons that I mentioned earlier, or Tinkatuffs. Mankeys are really good to see because they're just weaker than everything else in the fighting base that you'll go up against. So your lower level Pokemon actually still do pretty well against the Mankey.
Yes, it's also nice to see because they are one of the few Pokemon that spawn in a group. Most of the other Pokemon that are sent out specifically in the fighting base will spawn as a single Pokemon or as a duo. But since your Unculone or my Unculone and my Crocolore will die very quickly in there, I really want to have something like a group of Mankeys to occupy the Venomoth while I'm using a vending machine. Because the auto battles will keep happening even during the Fade to Black. So ideally you want the Venomoth to keep fighting while you heal the other 2 Pokemon with the vending machine.
And so now we're coming back to the fighting base. and we are triggering another cutscene in the exact same spot we did earlier, because the cutscenes are when you approach a base after defeating a certain number of bases. So we actually trigger a cutscene here twice, instead of triggering one outside of the fairy base.
But now we can approach into another cutscene.
Do you have the? I didn't see, how good is the moth? Do you have the primate range?
I'm pretty sure that's going to be a bad range.
Okay.
14 and 16.
Oh, that's not
Psychic.
bad at all.
Yeah, it's fine. I had a much worse Venomoth during practice the other day that had anywhere in between 0 to 3 IVs and special attack.
IVs can go anywhere from 0 to 31, so 0 to 3 is very unfortunate.
Yeah, IVs affect the stats quite heavily, so...
At lower levels, they don't make too big of a difference, but in this case, since we're going all the way up to 65, it is very noticeable, depending on
It's
what
like
your
a
IVs.
20-point range or something.
Yeah. This Krogunk, as well as the Toxicroak that we're going to be fighting shortly, has the ability Anticipation, which triggers because we know Psychic. I was really hoping to find a way to not need Psychics, then we could skip those two ability activations, but unfortunately Psychic is just too good for a couple spots where we do need it. Which is
And this is one of them.
here.
Yes, we do need to use Psychic on this Primeape. It is a 14 and 16 range, like I said, but I did hit it because there is a random component to the damage formula in Pokemon where you'll always get 1 in 16 different damage rolls. So the total damage is multiplied by a number between 1 and 0.85 at the end. And if I had gotten one of the 2 lowest damage rolls here, then Psychic would not have been able to one-shot the Primeape. Another thing that makes this base stand out from the others is that it's not an open area, it's like one narrow street up the mountain. So you really don't get much freedom in terms of movement. You're basically stuck to this path.
While we're doing the rush, can I just remind everyone while we're here?
Sure.
So just a reminder, of course, this is Power Up with Pride 2023. We are raising funds for the Trevor Project, and a majority of youth choose to contact the Trevor Project rather than other providers because the organization is LGBTQ affirming or trusted provider of crisis services. 90% of young people who reach out to Trevor experience de-escalation from suicidal thought. One supportive person can decrease an LGBTQ youth's risk of suicide by 30%. The Trevor Project aims to always be there for LGBTQ youth in crisis with a clear message they should be proud of who they are and that they are not alone. So this is a great cause, ! Donate in chat, even just a couple of dollars help. And I figured that was also a good message because these star bosses are just, they have the gender.
They absolutely
They definitely have. There's a lot of gender in this game, not just
a
the star
surprising
bosses.
amount for a Pokemon game, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you can see what Triv was talking about, where it's basically just a straight line, and we finally got some Mankey. Actually, only one spawn, so that wasn't even particularly good. Sometimes you'll get a Primeape along with 2 Mankey, which is,
Stick up.
when you see that, you love it. And then sometimes the game will do that, where you'll send out a Pokemon, it won't lock on correctly, and so then it just kind of stands there, which means that you have to recall it before you can actually send out another Pokemon. This is...
That's awkward.
Yeah, this is unfortunate, but just what happens sometimes.
Yeah, not the best fighting base right now, sadly.
any fighting base where you don't go across the Bridge of Cringe is good. Because there is, you can see in the upper right of the screen that there is a long bridge where there are no Pokemon. And sometimes you do have to cross that bridge, and it is very sad because you just have to spend like 15 seconds walking across the bridge, not doing anything.
Yeah, I had a good amount of spawns here. The spawns are random. It was just the problem of getting really no groups to spawn around the vending machines again. So basically what I was talking about earlier, where I couldn't really efficiently use those fades to black. Anyway, third fighting boss here, Ari.
So once again, because we're going to do 2 turns of setup here, and while we're doing those setup, the Toxicroak is going to do nothing except spam Sucker Punch. So it's just not going to do anything. It's its first 2 turns. I mentioned earlier that I initially routed Wigglytuff for this category. It uses Poison Jab against Wigglytuff, which is not a fun time. So Venomoth is much better.
Yeah, and we're just going to set up 2 X special attacks here. So we really want to buff our special attack for this fight.
Depending on your speed stat, for these fighting bases, you'll sometimes, or for the different star bases, you'll sometimes use Quiver Dance instead of an X special. It means that your special attack won't get boosted as much, but sometimes it makes the difference in order for you to be outspeeding the Starmobile. So in this case, our lovely Venomoth bird is fast, and so we don't need to use those Quiver Dances, and so we can just use X special attacks, which just makes the fight a bit cleaner. And also, I think a Quiver Dance is 1 second slower than an X special.
Yeah, this Venomoth is super fast. I think I saw 141 speed at 56.
Oh, that's very fast, yeah.
65, excuse me.
133 is basically the magic number that you're looking for the speed stat.
Yeah, so any speed higher than that, you're not really gonna get any use out of. But it's still nice to, not get outsped by anything. So if we had used Quiver Dance instead of one of our X special attacks, I would have to go for Psychic here, but since I didn't, I can just go for Bug Buzz, which is a quicker animation. And last out, yeah.
I was going to say, is the Starmobile range at +3? I don't remember.
It is at +3, yes. But
okay,
since
so
we are
yeah, so that's the other benefit here, is because we were faster, we were able to go to +4 instead, and so then this is a guaranteed kill instead of being a range.
Yeah, I would have had a 12 and 16 range here if I had been slower.
The one good piece of good news there is that even if you miss the range, the Starmobiles really, none of them can really do anything to Venomoth. They can be deadly to some of the other Pokemon that people have used for the category, but none of them hurt Venomoth.
All right, as we go into this group of cutscenes, can I read a donation?
Yes, go ahead.
All right, we have $10 from Barakiel, and I will do my best. Sprigatito, who's the cutest Gen 9 starter? Sprigatito, fluffy little tail that's pretty hard to beat, yo. Not so great at clearing out Team Star with speed, though. Sprigatito. Donations going to Super Mario. Due to that new remake, I'll upset Virginia happy to donate for LGBTs. So, Sprigatito. I tried. Thank you so much for that donation.
That was great. But yeah, if you have any more donations, there's like a minute of cutscene left. Feel free.
Well, just a reminder, we do have a bunch of those incentives still open for the rest of this marathon, including coming up Quest for Glory 5. We haven't yet unlocked the Get the Hero Surprise Dinner. We need $300, and we're a little under 200 away from that. So keep those donations coming. Even a couple of dollars helps. ! Donate in chat. Thank you so much.
All right, we have wrapped up the strongest base here, which leaves the 2 lower level bases. Now, for some reasons, those are also the least laggy, which makes movement in them a lot more satisfying, in my opinion.
Right. And the other thing that's nice about these ones is because they are lower levels, we actually get full usage out of our 2 bonus Pokemon that we have in our party, as opposed to all the other ones where Oink alone really didn't do much in any of the other 3. It's actually going to hold its own in these 2.
Yes. So we don't have to worry about using the vending machines basically at all. I don't think there's ever a situation where more than maybe 1 Pokemon faints in one of the base rates that we have yet to do.
Yeah, the only bad situation you can really get into is in the fire base if you send your Crocolore up against a pack of Nummels. But anything else, you're going to be in good shape.
So now flying back to the town that we really didn't go into this town. We just touched the fence right on the outside of it, but that was enough to unlock the fly point and the fly point on the other side. So we can now fly to that other side and just approach the fire base from above. Since, yeah, the fire base is in, I don't actually know what you call it, in a valley right next to this plateau here, but we can still trigger the cutscene from up here, so we don't have to worry about going all the way around.
Yeah, and if you try to sneak on them from behind, and like because we're still in front, we're just above. If you go from them behind and try to drop down, they will kick you out and send you to the front gate.
They really want you to do it the intended way, you know. Apparently, Team Star is
They're a stickler for some rules.
Apparently, even though they're like the rebel student group. All right, I was a little afraid of the black screen there. They take a couple seconds longer. Sometimes they just never fade back in. But here we go, the next gatekeeper, and you can really tell that these are supposed to be the first bases you take on because we don't fight any named characters, just some grunt that they send out to guard the gate.
Yeah, the other interesting thing with the game being open world is that sometimes the objectives that they put next to each other don't make a ton of sense. Because this base is right next to Cloth, which is level 16, and it's right next to Brassius, who's like 18, 19. Mella's like 28 or something. So it's very odd sometimes casually, the situations that you can put yourself into. But for our case, we don't really care because our Venomoth is 65 anyway. Shoutouts to Charlos.
Cute little Charcadet. Hey.
Just wants to go ahead and be the first in the raid. Apparently, because it was
That'd
running
be awesome if we could use Charlos in this raid.
Yeah, I would love that. All right.
Oh yeah, sorry, that wasn't clear. I was talking about levels, not ages.
No, they are all students, so they're all teenagers.
Well, but the lore of the game is that there's have students of all ages, right?
Yeah.
'Cause I
So they
swear
could be
that
any
there are-
ages.
Yeah, I swear there are some students that are like at least in their 40s in the academy.
Ah, right,
Yep,
that's true.
absolutely. There's definitely some older people that you can find and fight in the overworld. So like I said here, what Pokemon you send out against what doesn't really matter, other than you don't want your Crocolore fighting Nummels. This base, because you actually have a full team, you are able to, or your full team can survive. You're able to get through, and so it's actually very satisfying to get through this base, because you can just move straight from one pack to another, and you always have a Pokemon ready to go.
All right, and I think we should be just about done. Just gonna send it out one more time. I guess you can also fight something. Okay, there we go.
One very interesting thing that unfortunately there's not a really good way to take advantage of it, but if you have two of your Pokemon beat one Pokemon at the same time, it will count for two.
Huh.
But it's basically impossible to do it intentionally. It's just a lucky thing when it happens.
And there's Mela. Mela only has two Pokemon, unlike Eri and Atticus and Ortega, who I think all had four. That's another way in which this base is a little easier than the ones we've already done. Starts out with a Torkoal here that we can just Sludge Bomb.
Torkoal has the ability Drought, which is going to force the game to be sunny, which this is the one spot where you like to see rain, because if it is raining in the overworld, then Drought will fail. And it really doesn't save time because you're getting rain lag anyway, but it's funny.
Yeah, like Spider said earlier, this Starmobile here is still incredibly fast. We're talking 128 speed. I think the highest that any Starmobile has is 132, so the speed doesn't really change much across the bases, even though the levels increase quite significantly between them.
And so, yeah, that was the entire base. Much simpler than the other ones.
Can I read
If you
another
do not-
donation? Or,
Oh, yeah, go
we have
ahead.
a sec. All
Yep,
right.
go ahead.
We have $100 from David TKI that says, "Warning, once turned on, silly clowns cannot be turned off." Thank you so much. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Silly clowns are fun. And also, that brings that Get the Hero Surprise Dinner up to $214 out of 300. So we've nearly unlocked Extra Marathon. Keep going, chat. You're awesome.
All right. There's just one more base left here. The Dark base, led by Giacomo, who, if I recall correctly, is basically made out to be the de facto leader of Team Star. The actual leader has disappeared in the story of the game, so no one knows where they are, or who they are really, outside of the Team Star bosses themselves. But for some reason, even though Giacomo's made out to be this leader personality, he's the weakest of the bosses that we're gonna fight here.
Do you know the cutscene trigger for this base?
Not really. I tried to stay on the path last time, but it felt like that took even longer to get to the trigger.
So it's, if you just head straight after leaving the water base, or the water gym, the cutscene trigger is right after the NPC trainer that's on the path.
I tried to hit that then.
Yeah, it's weird because you would expect it to be by the base entrance, but it's actually a little bit faster. Just head for that trainer instead. Some of the cutscene triggers are very interesting here, which actually we didn't talk about triggering cutscene triggers. Whenever you go into a cutscene trigger or inside of a door, the game will play an animation of you getting off of your ride Pokemon. But that animation is slower than just doing it yourself. So we always try to dismount and then kind of have our momentum carry us into the cutscene trigger.
Yeah, because if you dismount manually, you can get that dismount in motion animation. That is just a little bit quicker than doing it while standing. And that is the animation that will play if the game forces you to... Went that NPC over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like right after him. If you try to hug the left wall, it's one, I think it takes a bit longer to get to. It's about the same amount of time, but you also have much more chance of running into wild Pokemon.
And we always want to avoid that because that's time loss. And we already had our fair share of encounters in this run.
Let's see, it was 2, right? Honestly,
2, yeah.
2's not too bad for a Scarlet Violet run.
Yeah, definitely not for a marathon run. In a PB attempt, I would be very unhappy with 2 encounters, though. Okay, I did not know that the cutscene trigger was this far out.
Yeah, they're kind of odd around the bases. This base also has one other odd thing when it comes to cutscenes, where we're gonna fight one more grunt, and then after this grunt, when we exit the cutscene, we're going to be facing... See, the camera is going to be facing away from the entrance, unlike every other base where the camera faces towards the base entrance.
I really don't know why the game does that, but it doesn't really matter to us. We still just have to step forward and press A to enter.
Yeah, you just
have to keep the camera angle in mind. Yeah.
Yep. So you hold the correct direction. I've seen plenty of people just walk away from the base as they exit the cutscene.
Just in this part of the run, you just wait for the cutscenes to end, and it's easy to just zone out a little bit, and you have the muscle memory of pressing forward after the base cutscene here. So since the camera is facing away from the base, that'll make you walk away instead of toward the gates.
But yeah, so this is our final Team Star base. We're going to do one more barrage, one more fight, and then do our final 2 battles for our boss fights to finish off the run.
Yeah, the last raid here in the Dark Base, another one that is quite satisfying to play. Yeah.
I was just gonna say the Pokemon that spawn during a barrage are all random, but they always spawn in the same location. So people have their own preferred paths of getting through the different bases. Fighting, obviously, as we saw, was just a straight line. So no, there's not really room for creativity there. But for every other base, people tend to have their own preferred way of moving through the bases and getting to the different packs of Pokemon.
I was trying to send out the Venomoth basically as soon as it got available again, but got a little too trigger happy and missed the stop and go.
Yeah, sometimes when you are waiting to send out a Pokemon, you're waiting for it to come back to you so you can send it out, especially in the higher level bases where your other Pokemon are fainted. You'll sometimes end up just kind of like stutter stepping in front of a pack, hoping that your Pokemon comes out and you're able to still get the stop and go.
Yeah, I misplayed this space just a little bit. I also got that situation again where the Venomoth didn't lock onto a target correctly. Lost me another second or two, but that is fine. Now for the final Team Star boss.
So here we're going to see the Poniard that I mentioned earlier. So we have to be sure to click Bug Buzz because our other two moves don't do anything to it.
And then we can just also use Bug Buzz to get rid of the Starmobile.
Which is very clean and easy one-shot because this is the lowest level of the bases.
Yeah, we don't really have to worry about the stats here, outside of speed, of course, because this one has 129 speed.
For some weird reason.
All right, I don't know if you mentioned it, but another strange thing about the Starmobiles is that that's the one Pokemon where you're not gonna get asked if you want to switch out. So even though you're locked into the switch battle style, for this one Pokemon on each of the boss battles here, the game just forces it to be set. You're locked in. You have to use the same Pokemon for the Starmobile as well.
Yeah, so we have a whole list of things that's odd about the Starmobiles that we were compiling as we were doing the routing for this, and yeah, they're just weird.
But that's the final boss of any base, not the final boss of the run. There are 2 more fights to go. But the final base is done. We have defeated them all and forced them into retirement, basically.
And so now that we're done with bases, that means no more star barrages. So that means that we can go ahead and deposit our other 2 Pokemon in our party, say goodbye to them, because if we kept them in the party, in addition to gaining XP, it would also then trigger the switch battle style, and then give us the prompt for all of the Pokemon that we're defeating and sending out new ones. So we get to skip all of those prompts.
Yes, I'm also going to be teaching an extra move here that is in theory optional, but with my special attack, I think it's just better to teach it.
Yeah, with any marathon run, it's better to teach it. So earlier on in the Around the World section, we picked up Energy Ball. It's like all things considered, it's about 20 seconds to pick up and teach, maybe even a bit less than that. And it makes the final fight much riskier. And so it's technically optimal to skip it, but it's rough if you do.
Yeah, not having it is really, really risky. So I'm just going to use that same menu where I'm going to deposit the Crocolore and the Oinkolon to teach that through a TM, or through the TM that I picked up earlier. So yeah, story-wise, what has been happening? Originally, we've been hired by this mysterious person, Cassiopeia, I don't know how to pronounce that name actually.
Yeah.
Cassiopeia, who's never shown their face. We've only talked on the phone. And they hired us to find out what's up with Team Star, and now they have revealed to us that they have been the founder and original leader of Team Star the whole time.
Whoa. Shocking plot twist.
Yeah, I was supposed to meet them in front of the academy here and find out what really is behind the story. So we're flying to the academy, but before we approach the meeting spot, I'm just going to teach Energy Ball, like I said, over Psychic. We don't need that anymore. And then we can deposit the other 2 Pokemon that we don't need. I'm also gonna do another safety save, and then you can actually mount Koraidon from the menu, and that skips the mounting animation entirely.
I always forget that exists, and so I've never done that.
Yeah, it's a minor optimization.
Whoa, turns out Clive was actually the president of the school, Clavel, and not just a total normal student. I don't think anyone saw that coming.
The biggest plot twist, for sure. Yeah, and Clavel is claiming that he has been Cassiopeia the entire time. And wants to fight us.
So
That's- yeah. Right.
This is an interesting Pokemon for Clavel to use as his lead. Where once again, it's actually not so bad for Venomoth, but it's pretty bad for every other Pokemon that gets used for these category. Because the Oranguru will tend to use. All right, Jan, turn 1 is good. It will. Let's see. I'm now forgetting why it's bad. I don't remember its moveset. It has Follow Play, which deals damage based on your attacking score. So if you try to set up on it, that's Reflect. That's the other reason why it's bad. So if you try to set up a physical attacker, it will start using Foul Play and do more damage to you. The other thing is that it uses Reflect, which is a move that increases its own defenses. So physical attackers just get hit twice by this Oranguru, while it just does literally nothing to us. It put us to sleep with a yawn, but we just had that awakening that we picked up earlier, and now we're good to go, and we can just sweep.
Yes. Coming out next is Houndoom. Houndoom is another one of those Pokemon that can potentially outspeed us with 131 speed. But yeah, our bird is much faster than that. It's a very speedy bird. And now we basically don't have to worry about anything. We can just use Sludge Bomb on every Pokemon that Clavel has. I will switch to Energy Ball for his final Pokemon, because Clavel will always have the starter Pokemon that did not get picked. So we picked Fuecoco, which means that our rival Nemona, who doesn't appear in this run, picked the Grass starter, Sprigatito, which means that we will be seeing Quaquaval, the fully evolved water starter here, as Clavel's ace. This Amoonguss, by the way, another reason why running a physical attacker is very annoying in this category, because it has an ability called Effect Spore, which has, I believe, a 10% chance to either poison, paralyze, or put you to sleep. Which, if you get put to sleep or paralyzed, the run is basically over, because there's nothing you can do against this Quaquaval. I wanted to Energy Ball, there we go.
And the other spot, and speaking of abilities, this is the one fight where Tinted Lens is really good, because otherwise Clavel's Poltergeist is really a pain. But since we can use a not very effective move, then we can just Sludge Bomb it and we're fine.
And that's Clavel defeated. Clavel has kind of a boring boss battle theme, but worry not, there's one more boss battle to come with a much better theme.
The best theme.
Yeah, we have to sit through this one kind of boring theme and get rewarded by, yeah, like Spider said, probably the best final boss theme out of the 3 single story runs.
I was just saying it was the best theme in the game.
Really? Okay. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure the actual final boss battle of the game is also pretty hype.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. That one's good, yeah.
Yeah, I don't usually get to hear it because I don't run.
Right, neither of us run any percent.
But yeah, turns out Clavel actually isn't Cassiopeia. Who would have thought? He just said that to protect the actual Cassiopeia. But that means we still have something. We still have some business. And we're meeting the actual Cassiopeia in the schoolyard.
So that means chat just a couple minutes left if you want to get some Pokemon puns in. Exclamation mark donate in chat. I know I've been pushing that the hero surprise dinner, but we also have a bunch of other like name bid wars for naming the hero, choosing which character for the Burger King games, and lots of other fun incentives. So exclamation mark donate and make sure you put your donations towards a fun incentive.
Well, who could it be? With that very, very...
This Eevee backpack is so inconspicuous.
Yeah, of course. It's the only other named character in the storyline that is behind it all. In Penny, who's been acting as her own delivery person the entire time. And of course now we have to fight her to tie this up neatly. And she has not only a great battle theme, as we're about to hear, but also a very interesting team.
Yeah, so she has all of the good evolutions on her team. I'm sorry, Espeon and Glaceon. Not really. But the interesting thing about her team is that they all know the move Baby Doll Eyes, which is a priority move that lowers your attack stat, which once again is very unfortunate for physical attackers, but we don't really care. In fact, we prefer to see Baby Doll Eyes because it just means it's a safer fight for us. So we're going to do 2 turns of setup here. This Umbreon is either going to use Baby Doll Eyes or Psychic. Quiver Dance raises our special defense. So taking those Psychic hits aren't as bad as they might otherwise be, as long as we don't get a special defense drop on turn 1, which we didn't. So it's a safe fight.
Class, there we go. Yeah, we will get hit one more time in this fight by the Leafeon that is coming out a little bit later here, because the only way that can really hurt us is by using Quick Attack, which has priority. Also, if you have extremely bad special attack, this Flareon can be arranged. Let me actually check if mine was arranged. Yes, it was a 15 and 16, so I could have missed that. I could have missed that.
That would be bad. So this Vaporeon is the only real reason we picked up Energy Ball. It was fine for Quackball. It was just a little bit of safety to use it there. But it's not a bad range. This Vaporeon you cannot one-shot without Energy Ball. So if you don't pick up Energy Ball and try to save those seconds, you need to 2-shot the Vaporeon, which means that you're probably going to eat a Hydro Pump, which can be pretty bad.
Yeah, you don't want to see that. So that's the Leafeon. We're going to see one more Quick Attack here, unless it crits. Okay, yeah. We're fine. Even a crit should have been fine there.
Yeah, the Leafeon's attacking move is its other attacking move is Leaf Blade, which does nothing to us. So it'll never actually pick the move. So it will always go for Quick Attack. The other evolutions will sometimes go for Quick Attack if they think it will kill you. And so you have to be a little bit careful about your HP, but generally it's pretty safe for Venomoth.
Yeah, unlike Leafeon, Sylveon doesn't have really a good attack stat, so it's very unlikely to go for a Quick Attack unless you're really, really low health.
And there you go, GG.
There we indeed go. That is the final boss of the run done. Now, sadly, this doesn't mean that time is over quite yet, because the run ends on the title card that basically says you've beaten the single story. And we decided that as a community because in both other single story runs, that happens basically immediately after you've beaten the final boss. In Path of Legends, it's literally 20 seconds later, and in Victory Road, it's like a minute of cutscene and then you're done. But in Starfall Street, it takes about 5 minutes from the Fade to Black on the final boss to the actual end of the run. And there's a little bit of movement, but most of it is cutscenes here in the epilogue, where everything gets wrapped up neatly. So this is the best time to, well, read of another donation, maybe, if there is one.
Perfect. I was going to say, I have a last minute donation here.
All right.
$21 from Gavin NBD says, thanks to Triv and Spider for the great run. Great showcase for a great cause. Let's hit that $7,500. Thank you so much. We are $50 away from $7,500 total. So we're almost there. And I think we can make it. I think by, maybe the start of the next run, or at least the end of the next run, we can make 7,500, chat. Thank you so much for your donations.
All right, well, I think I'm just going to use this time to do my shoutouts then, since we still have like 2 minutes to go here on the cutscene. First of all, I want to just thank Power Up with Pride for having me, letting me show off this run. I really like all of the Scarlet speedruns, basically, except maybe any %. But all of the single story runs are a lot of fun to do, and I'm very glad I was able to show this run off. Also, thank you, Spider, for being on commentary here, since you actually routed this particular route for the Venomoth.
Yeah, no problem. Glad to be here.
Yeah, if you liked the run and want to learn this one, or maybe learn one of the other runs, you can join the community Discord for Switch Pokemon speedrunning. You can find that on the speedrun.com page for basically any of the Switch mainline Pokemon games. And usually there's a nice file, like a document that you can read through that will explain in detail how the route works. And it's really easy to get into. And of course, if you want to follow me, you can do that at twitch.tv/Trivvaria. It's in chat right now. And I would definitely be happy to see you in my chat sometime. Well, sadly, there's still a little bit to go here.
Just keeps coming.
It keeps going.
Well, we got $50 from Florin that says $7,500 get. Thank you so much. With that, we did reach $7,500 by the end of this run. Good job,
awesome.
everyone.
Thank you.
Amazing.
All right, well, we have control of movement again, but the cutscenes still are not over.
Nope, we still have to go to the director's office. This one is a little bit shorter than the one we just finished, but it's also still not the final cutscene of the run. Yeah, the end really, it's really unfortunate for this run in particular that we didn't just decide to end time for every one of those single story runs on the fade out to black after the final boss. Yeah, Penny's supposed to get punished for, basically founding a criminal organization. And
They
also
don't actually
stealing a
care
bunch
about
of...
that as much of the fact that she hacked the league.
Yeah, and stole a bunch of...
Like, Clavel's
virtual
like, oh yeah,
currency.
messing with the
Yeah.
school, that's perfectly fine. Ooh, you hacked the league, that's not great.
And now you just exit the academy one last time, go down the stairs, and have a little chat with Penny.
And the last little piece here is to avoid running into students. Because sometimes they do just walk in front of you.
There she is. And time is going to end when the border of the title card that is going to say Starfall Street completed fully disappears. I'm going to call it out as it happens.
She gives us Draco Meteor, which is not a good move. We could do without that.
It's also just an odd move to get as...
From Penny, yeah.
Yeah. She doesn't have any dragon types. Oh well. Here's the title card. And time.
GG.
Oops.
GG. Awesome. Thank you so much for that run. Since you already did your shout out, are we good to go?
Yeah, I think we're good to go. Once again, thank you for having me. And I'm excited to see the rest of the marathon.
Awesome. All right, chat. Stick around. We still have more marathon coming, even though we are done with the Pokemon block. Stick around while we get ready for the next game. All right, chat. Thank you so much for being here with me this morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time zone you are in. This has been the end of my shift with you here for Power Up with Pride 2023, but we still have lots of awesome games coming. So stick around, keep those donations coming, or, just stay in chat, stay cozy. I'm going to pass you off to the awesome Ruby coming up after me on host mic. And yeah, stay cute, chat. Talk to you later.